At 87, Pope Francis prepares for his longest trip, covering 30,000 kilometers in 12 days. From September 2 to 13, he will visit Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, Timor-Leste, and Singapore, marking his 45th international trip. Starting in Indonesia, a predominantly Muslim country, he will proceed to Papua New Guinea, the farthest continent from Rome he has yet to visit. This will be his first visit to Timor-Leste, the youngest Catholic country since 2002. His trip's culmination will be in Singapore, where he will meet leaders of different religions. Despite health issues forcing changes to trips to Africa and the Dubai Climate Summit, when he completes this journey, he will have visited over 65 countries, strengthening global relationships. Shalom World News brings you the live coverage of the Apostolic journey to Southeast Asia and Oceania, September 2 to 13. Stay tuned. Pope Francis embarks on his 45th apostolic journey, visiting Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, Timor-Leste, and Singapore in early September. Starting from Rome on September 2, his first stop is Jakarta, Indonesia, from September 3 to 6. The logo features Pope Francis' blessing with a raised hand set against a golden Garuda, a revered Indonesian eagle, designed in traditional batik patterns. A map of Indonesia highlights its diverse ethnicities, languages, cultures, and beliefs. The motto, faith, fraternity, compassion, reflects spiritual commitment, unity, and compassionate outreach. The visit is eagerly awaited by the faithful in Indonesia and beyond. Shalom World News brings you the live coverage of the Apostolic journey to Indonesia, September 3rd to 6th. Stay tuned. Following Papua New Guinea, Pope Francis will visit Timor-Leste until September 11. The visit's logo shows Pope Francis' blessing with a raised hand against a globe from which a map of Timor-Leste emerges. The globe emphasizes the global dimension of the visit, with Timor-Leste's map in the foreground representing the local focus of the trip. The motto for the visit, "May your faith be your culture," encourages the Timorese to integrate their faith with their cultural traditions. This message highlights the value of enculturation, urging the faithful to live out their beliefs in harmony with their rich cultural heritage. The Vatican describes the logo as a symbol of the Pope's blessing and the protection he brings to the Timorese during his journey. Shalom World News brings you the live coverage of the Apostolic journey to Timor-Leste, September 9 to 11. Stay tuned. As part of the Apostolic journey to Asia and Oceania, Pope Francis will visit Papua New Guinea from September 6 to 9. The official logo for this visit prominently features a cross, designed with colors that evoke the stunning sunrises and sunsets of Papua New Guinea. Adorning the cross is a bird of paradise, a symbol of the country, while the central theme of the logo is the motto, "Teach us to pray," inspired by the disciples' request to Jesus in Luke 11:1. Designed by Father Tomas Ravoli of the Liturgical Catechetical Institute in Goroko, Eastern Highlands. The logo and motto serve to emphasize the spiritual significance of the Pope's visit, moving beyond a mere tour to deliver a message of faith and prayer to the people of Papua New Guinea. Shalom World News brings you the live coverage of the Apostolic journey to Papua New Guinea, September 6th to 9th. Stay tuned. Papua New Guinea, an island nation in the southwestern Pacific Ocean, gained independence from Australia in 1975. Home to over 11 million people, predominantly Melanesian, it boasts over 800 languages, making it one of the most linguistically diverse countries. English, Tok Pesan, and Hiri Motu are the official languages. Christianity is the predominant religion, with 95.6% identifying as Christians according to the 2011 census. The people rely on agriculture, hunting, and fishing, and their lives revolve around extended families. Rich village cultures are prominent throughout the nation. The Holy Father's 3 days visit holds significance not only for the spiritual community, but also for the nation's global image. Shalom World News brings you the live coverage of the Apostolic journey to Papua New Guinea, September 6th through 9. Stay tuned. Timor-Leste, also known as East Timor, is the youngest Catholic country in the world. Located in Southeast Asia, it was a Portuguese colony until 1975. After declaring independence, it faced a brutal invasion and occupation by Indonesia. The Catholic Church played a significant role in supporting the struggle for independence, leading to a UN-backed referendum in 1999 and full sovereignty on May 20, 2002. With over 95% of its population being Catholic, the Church remains central to the nation's identity. Bishop Carlos Simões Bello and José Ramos Horta, key figures in the independence movement, were awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1996. Pope Francis is set to visit Timor-Leste, celebrating Mass at the Tasi Tolu complex in Dili, marking 25 years since the referendum. Shalom World News brings you the live coverage of the Apostolic journey to Timor-Leste, September 9 to 11. Stay tuned. The earliest presence of Christianity in Indonesia was traced in Sumatra in the 7th century. Historical records also suggest the visit of Franciscan missionaries to Indonesia, known as the world's largest archipelago with over 13,000 islands. First baptisms in the country were ministered in 1534, and subsequently, Catholic communities were established in the Moluccas, Amboina, and Ternate. Franciscan missionaries visited the vast archipelago, and Jesuit missionary Saint Francis Xavier stayed in Indonesia for 14 months between 1546 and 1547. Despite suppression by the Dutch East India Company in the 17th century, Catholicism persisted. The Indonesian bishops participated in the Second Vatican Council, leading to significant growth post-independence. Today, Indonesia has 29.4 million Christians, marking the second largest Christian population in the Muslim world. Shalom World News brings you the live coverage of the Apostolic journey to Indonesia, September 3rd to 6th. Stay tuned. For the first time ever, a pope visited Singapore in 1986. St. John Paul II came to the country almost 38 years ago during his Asia-Pacific tour. During his brief visit, he met with Singapore President Tui Kim Lee and the Prime Minister. At the National Stadium, Pope Jean Paul II celebrated Holy Mass, which was attended by more than 70,000 people. In his homily, the Pope expressed his desire to stand among them as a servant of Christ's love and peace. Singapore will welcome a pontiff of the Catholic Church for the second time when Pope Francis pays a 3-day visit to the country. Shalom World News brings you the live coverage of the Apostolic journey to Singapore, September 11 through 13. Stay tuned.
Mi richiami? Ta 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 ta.
Laudetur Jesus Christus. Praised be Jesus Christ. Hello and welcome to this live broadcast of Pope Francis's first public event of his apostolic journey to Indonesia. The Holy Father is meeting with the country's authorities, civil society, and diplomatic corps in the Istana Negara Presidential Palace in Jakarta. From wherever you are joining us, I would like to welcome you to this live broadcast. Some of you may be joining us through the various Vatican media channels, perhaps the Vatican News app or the Radio Vaticana app, the Vatican News web portal, or our Vatican News English YouTube channel, or our Facebook live feed.
And the Vice President of the Republic
We also
of
welcome
Indonesia,
all of you who are joining us
Professor
through partner broadcasting stations, including EWTN TV, Catholic Faith Network in America, Shalom TV India and Sunday Shalom, Shalom World TV, Catholic TV, and Luminous Radio in India. My name is Devin Watkins, and I will be providing the commentary and translation for this papal event. As we begin, we see Pope Francis has arrived at the Istana Negara Presidential Palace.
Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya,
He is
Salam
being
Kebajikan.
welcomed by and is sitting beside the President, Joko Widodo,
His Holiness Pope Francis, the
President
Vice
of
President
Indonesia.
of the Republic of Indonesia, His Excellency Professor Kiai Haji
The
Ma'ruf
President
Amin.
will
Elected President,
meet
His Excellency
speak,
Mr. Prabowo
to
Subianto, Excellencies,
will address Pope Francis
ambassadors,
in front of the
ministers and
authorities and civil
from the
society
Republic of Indonesia
and diplomatic corps of
and the
Indonesia.
Holy See. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen,
Welcome to the State Palace. The apostolic visit of the Holy Father Pope Francis is highly anticipated not only by the Catholics in Indonesia, but also by the entire nation.
We
in
hear
accordance
the
with the theme of the
welcome
visit,
of Pope
it is
Francis
hoped that the Holy
by
Father's
the
visit
announcers
will
and the
deepen
MCs here
our
in
faith
the Presidential
as well
Palace.
as strengthen the spirit
Is being welcomed in English.
and compassion.
To begin, we invite His Excellency, the President of Indonesia, to deliver his remarks.
Selamat pagi, salam sejahtera bagi kita semuanya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om
The
Swastiastu,
President
Namo Buddhaya,
is
Salam
saying,
Kebajikan.
may the peace, mercy, and blessings of Allah be with you. Peace be upon all of us.
Yang teramat mulia,
His Holiness Pope
Bapak
Francis,
Suci,
Excellencies,
Paus
ambassadors of
Franciscus,
friendly countries, ladies and gentlemen,
yang saya hormati Wakil Presiden Republik Indonesia, Presiden terpilih Republik Indonesia, yang saya hormati para ketua lembaga-lembaga tinggi negara, para tokoh agama, hadirin dan undangan yang berbahagia. Negara kita Indonesia menyambut gembira dan hangat kedatangan yang teramat mulia Bapak Suci Paus Franciscus, dan saya mendengar ini adalah penerbangan terpanjang yang Sri Paus lakukan. Terima kasih Bapak Suci telah
Indonesia
bersedia
warmly and
mengunjungi
joyfully
kami
welcomes your
untuk
visit.
mengunjungi Indonesia.
I understand that this is the longest journey
Kunjungan ini
you have
memiliki pesan
ever
yang
undertaken.
sangat kuat tentang arti pentingnya
Thank you, Holy
merayakan
Father, for your willingness to
perbedaan,
accept our invitation
Mana
to visit
Indonesia
our
sebagai
country,
negara majemuk
Indonesia.
yang terdiri dari beragam etnis.
Holy Father, this visit carries a very strong and important message as it celebrates diversity.
714
Indonesia is a pluralistic country
etnis
composed of various
dan
ethnicities,
memiliki
cultures, and religions,
17.000 pulau yang kita tinggali
and strives to cultivate harmony
yang
amidst our
semuanya
diversity.
berbeda budaya,
For Indonesia,
dan
diversity
suku bangsa.
is a gift.
Terus
And tolerance is the nourishment for unity and peace.
kebinekaan yang kita miliki. Bagi adalah
We're having a little bit of trouble with
toleransi
the
adalah
feed,
pupuk
but we
bagi
will continue.
dan sebagai
As
sebuah
a nation, Indonesia is very
Indonesia
fortunate
sangat
to have
beruntung
the
memiliki
Pancasila, the
dan
five
Bhinneka
pillars,
Tunggal Ika,
as the foundation of our
sehingga
country,
dapat hidup
allowing
rukun,
us to live in harmony
berdampingan.
with one another.
Semangat perdamaian dan toleransi inilah yang ingin Indonesia bersama Vatikan sebarkan, apalagi di tengah dunia yang semakin bergejolak. Seperti yang kita ketahui bersama, konflik dan perang terjadi di
This
berbagai
principle
belahan
of
dunia,
peace
termasuk di Palestina.
and tolerance that we wish to promote together with the Vatican is crucial, especially amid the various conflicts in our world.
Sangat menghargai sikap Vatikan yang terus menyuarakan, menyerukan,
As we all know, there are conflicts and wars in various parts of the world,
solution.
including Palestine, where over 40,000 people have
Perang
died.
hanya akan membawa
Indonesia appreciates the stance and position of the Holy Father, who tirelessly calls for peace in Palestine and advocates for the two-state solution, because war brings no benefit to anyone. It only brings suffering and misery, particularly to the vulnerable. Therefore, we celebrate the diversity we have. We accept one another and strengthen tolerance to achieve peace and a better world for all humanity. Thank you. President Joko Widodo shakes hands with Pope Francis, and
His Holiness Pope Francis.
Pope Francis is invited to deliver his address to the authorities, civil society, and diplomatic corps of Indonesia. As the Holy Father puts on his glasses and prepares to deliver his address.
Signor Presidente, distinte autorità,
Speaking in Italian, the Holy Father says,
eminentissimi signori cardinali,
Mr. President,
signori vescovi,
distinguished authorities,
illustri rappresentanti
Your Eminences, Cardinals,
società religiose,
Esteemed
dei gruppi religiosi,
representatives of civil society,
di diverse religioni,
and representatives of various religions,
illustri rappresentanti della società civile, membri del
and
corpo
members of the
diplomatico.
diplomatic corps.
Ringrazio cordialmente lei, signor Presidente, per il gradito
I cordially thank you, Mr. President,
visitare il
for the
Paese,
gracious
per le sue
invitation
gentili parole di
to
saluto.
visit your country and for your kind words of welcome.
Il mio più sentito augurio.
I extend to the President-elect my warmest good wishes for a fruitful period of service to Indonesia, a vast archipelago of thousands and thousands of islands surrounded by the sea that connects Asia to Oceania. We could almost say that just as the ocean is the natural element uniting all Indonesian islands, the mutual respect for the specific cultural, ethnic, linguistic, and religious characteristics of all the groups present in Indonesia is the indispensable and unifying fabric that makes Indonesians a united and proud
Il
people.
vostro motto nazionale, Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, uniti nella diversità,
Your national motto, Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, united in diversity, literally many but one, captures well this multifaceted reality of diverse peoples firmly united in one nation.
e inoltre mostra che
It also shows that just as the great biodiversity present in this archipelago is a source of richness and splendor, Your specific differences similarly contribute to forming a magnificent mosaic in which each tile is an irreplaceable element in creating a great, original, and precious work. And this is one of your greatest riches.
L'armonia nel rispetto delle diversità si raggiunge quando ogni visione particolare tiene conto della necessità.
A harmony in diversity is achieved when particular perspectives take into account the needs common to all, and when each ethnic group and religious denomination acts in a spirit of fraternity, pursuing the noble goal of serving the good of all. The awareness of participating in a shared history in which solidarity is essential and contributions are made by all helps to identify the right solutions, to avoid the exasperation of contrasts, and to transform opposition into effective cooperation. This wise and delicate balance between the multiplicity of cultures and different ideological visions and the ideals that cement unity must be continuously defended against imbalances.
Perché si tratta di un lavoro artigianale, ripeto, un lavoro artigianale.
It is a work of craftsmanship, I repeat, craftsmanship, entrusted to everyone, but in a special way to those in political life, who should strive toward unity, toward harmony, equity, respect for the fundamental rights of human beings, sustainable development, solidarity, and the pursuit of peace, both within society and with other peoples and nations. And this is the greatness of politics. A wise man said that politics is the greatest and highest form of charity.
Per favorire una pacifica e costruttiva armonia che assicuri le pace e unisca.
In order to foster a peaceful and fruitful harmony that ensures peace and unites efforts to remove the imbalances and suffering that still persist in some areas of the country, the Church desires to increase interreligious dialogue. In this way, prejudices can be eliminated, and a climate of mutual respect and trust can grow. This is indispensable for meeting common challenges, including that of countering extremism and intolerance, which, through the distortion of religion, attempt to impose their views by using deception and violence. There is closeness and listening to one another, and this creates fraternity in a nation. And this is a very beautiful thing.
La Chiesa Cattolica si pone al servizio del bene comune e desidera rafforzare la collaborazione.
The Catholic Church is at the service of the common good and wishes to strengthen cooperation with public institutions and other actors in civil society, but never carrying out proselytism, never proselytizing, but always in respect for others. Therefore, I encourage the formation of a more balanced social fabric and ensure a more efficient and equitable distribution of social assistance. In this regard, I would like to refer to the preamble of your 1945 Constitution, which offers valuable insights into the path chosen by a democratic and independent Indonesia. This is a beautiful, your history is a beautiful one when you We
Per
read
ben
it
due
that it was a
volte in
choice
poche
of the
righe
people
il preambolo fa
together
riferimento a
for
Dio
democracy.
Onnipotente e alla necessità che la sua benedizione scenda sul nascente Stato dell'Indonesia.
Twice within a few lines, the preamble refers to Almighty God and the need for His blessing to descend upon the nascent state of Indonesia. Similarly, the opening lines of your fundamental constitutional law refer to social justice twice as the desired foundation for international order and as one of the main objectives to be achieved for the benefit of the entire Indonesian people. Unity in multiplicity, social justice, and divine blessing are thus the fundamental principles intended to inspire and guide the social order. They can be likened to a support structure, the solid base on which to build the house. How can we fail to notice that these principles fit very well with the motto of my visit to Indonesia? Faith, fraternity, compassion.
Purtroppo invece si riscontrano nel mondo attuale.
Unfortunately, however, we see in today's world certain tendencies that hinder the development of universal fraternity. In various regions, we see the emergence of violent conflicts, which are often the result of a lack of mutual respect, of the intolerant desire to let one's own interests, one's own position, or one's own partial historical narrative prevail at all costs, even when this leads to endless suffering for entire communities and results in wars and much bloodshed.
A volte poi si sviluppano violente tensioni all'interno degli stati.
Sometimes violent tensions arise within countries because those in power want to make everything uniform, imposing their vision even in matters that should be left to the autonomy of individuals or associated groups. Furthermore, despite impressive declarations of policy, there is also a lack of true and forward-looking commitment to implement the principles of social justice. As a result, a considerable part of humanity is left on the margins, without the means for a dignified existence, and no defense against the serious and growing social imbalances that trigger acute conflicts. And how is this resolved? With a death law, that limit the numbers of births, but your nation has a high birth rate, and please continue in this. You offer an example in this to other countries, and perhaps this would make one laugh, but there are some families who prefer to have a cat or a dog. But we see that this is not, this doesn't work. In other contexts, people believe they can or should disregard the need to seek God's blessing, judging it to be superfluous for human beings and civil society. They promote instead their own efforts, but this often leads them to encounter frustration and failure. Yet, there are times when faith in God is continually placed at the forefront, but is sadly manipulated to foment divisions and increase hatred instead of furthering peace, communion, dialogue, respect, cooperation, and fraternity.
Fratelli e sorelle, di fronte a queste ombre,
Brothers and sisters, in the face of these challenges, it is encouraging that the philosophy guiding the organization of the Indonesian state is both balanced and wise. In this regard, I make my own the words of St. John Paul II during his 1989 visit to this very palace. Among other things, he said, in acknowledging the presence of legitimate diversity, in respecting the human and political rights of all citizens, and in encouraging the growth of national unity based on tolerance and respect for others, you lay the foundations for that just and peaceful society which all Indonesians wish for themselves and long to bequeath to their children.
Anche se a volte nel corso delle vicende storiche I principi ispiratori.
If at times in the past the principles mentioned above have not always been implemented, they remain valid and reliable, like a beacon that illustrates the path to be taken and that warns of the most dangerous mistakes to be avoided. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, it is my hope that everyone in their daily lives will be able to draw inspiration from these principles and implement them when carrying out their respective duties, since opus justitiae pax, peace is the work of justice. Harmony is achieved when we are committed not only to our own interests and vision, but to the good of all, to building bridges, fostering agreements and synergies, joining forces in order to defeat all forms of moral, economic, and social distress, and promoting peace and concord. Dear brothers and sisters, please continue on your path, which is so beautiful and just, and which will carry a blessing to all the people. May God bless Indonesia with peace for a future full of hope. May God bless you all.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, remarks of His Holiness Pope Francis concludes this meeting.
Ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Indonesia and His Holiness Pope Francis and the Vice President of the Republic of Indonesia, Professor Kiai Haji Ma'ruf Amin, depart the State Palace.
Hadirin dimohon berdiri. Ladies and gentlemen,
and with that we hear the MCs thanking everyone, thanking the Holy Father, announcing that he will be concluding this encounter with authorities, civil society, and diplomatic corps of Indonesia. We see Pope Francis pausing for a moment to speak to President Joko Widodo. The Holy Father arrived in Indonesia yesterday in the morning and took all of Tuesday to rest from his 13-hour flight from Rome. Just ahead of this meeting, the Holy Father was welcomed to the presidential palace and signed the Book of Honor. In it he wrote, "Immersed in the beauty of this land, a place of encounter and dialogue between different cultures and religions, I wish the Indonesian people growth in faith, fraternity, and compassion. God bless Indonesia." Those were the Holy Father's words in the Book of Honor at the presidential palace. And as the Holy Father concludes this meeting, we end this live broadcast of his meeting with authorities, civil society, and diplomatic corps in Jakarta on his apostolic journey to Indonesia. Please join us in just over 5 hours for the Pope's meeting with Indonesia's bishops, clergy, and religious at the Cathedral of the Assumption. You'll find us back here on the same channel. Please visit the Vatican News web portal, Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube accounts for coverage of today's event and other Vatican and world news. On behalf of Vatican Media, I would like to thank our in-studio audio technician, Gabriele Di Domenico, and Massimiliano Menichetti, our audio coordinator, and all of our media partners, and especially our friends at the Deaf Catholic Youth Initiative, who have made this broadcast possible in American Sign Language, and to all of you for joining us. Laudetur Jesus Christus, praised be Jesus Christ.
10 years of sharing the peace of Christ. Shalom World, God's own channel.